Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Welcome to the May 12th, 2015 meeting of the Village of Rhinebeck Board of Trustees. Before we get started with our regular agenda items, I just wanted to take a moment to recognize the passing of Christopher Cuddeback. He was a police officer here in the Village of Rhinebeck between July of 2013 and February of 2015. He was involved in a motorcycle accident on April 28th, and he passed away on May 5th. He was laid to rest today in a fitting ceremony for a fine young man that was attended by most of our police department and hundreds of other police officers from the county and from the region. So the village sends our best to his family and young surviving fiance. With that, County Legislator Joel Tyner.
Evening, everybody. I honestly didn't know until you just mentioned it that he served here in the Village of Rhinebeck, so I knew that name back then. So,
Yeah, I should mention that he left the Village of Rhinebeck as a part-time police officer to take a position as a full-time deputy with the county sheriff's office, and with that position, you're not allowed to maintain a second part-time police job. So that was our loss at the time.
well, that is bad news, and but I just wanted to the thing that I handed out is about the repair cafe. We're doing a 6th repair cafe at Town Hall this coming Saturday from noon to 4 p.m. People can bring their sort of quote-unquote beloved but broken stuff to be fixed for free. We actually have, if you have broken backs, you can get them fixed for free with a licensed massage therapist, Valerie Leger. If your clothing needs to be mended, lamps, vacuum cleaners, computers, electronics, furniture, you name it, we'll try to get it fixed for free. That's this Saturday, the 16th, I believe that is, from noon to 4 at Town Hall. I got a resolution passed unanimously last night in the county legislature so that businesses in Dutchess County can get just about essentially free solar energy loans or energy retrofit loans. It's called the Sustainable Energy Loan Fund. Manager Green of Hudson River Clearwater told me about it last October. We had it on the agenda last November. Folks were telling me, pull it off, let the county planning department work on it. They worked on it for the last 6 months, and it passed last night unanimously. So good news on that. Call if you know any businesses in Dutchess County who would like to get solar just about free. It's called Property Assessed Clean Energy, where basically you pay off the cost of the solar or the energy efficiency retrofit on your property taxes. PACE, Property Assessed Clean Energy. So call the county planning department at 486-3600. And back in June 2013, got the resolution passed unanimously for Solarize. That's going to be up and running soon. Sustainable Hudson Valley and Catskill Mountain Keeper got an award from NYSERDA to actually do that in Hudson Valley, so that basically very soon I'm hoping they come to either Rhinebeck Village Hall or Rhinebeck Town Hall to do a forum on Solarize Hudson Valley. You can find it at sustainhv.org. That's talking about for homeowners, not businesses, a deep discount, basically volume pricing for solar. And again, if you go to the Sustainable Hudson Valley website, just look for Solarize Hudson Valley on Facebook. I'm hoping that sooner before later they'll be coming to Rhinebeck on that. Several of us last night in the county legislature signed a letter I circulated to restore a 5-day week for the Dutchess County Office for the Aging Senior Friendship Centers. There's one, just down the street at the Church of Good Shepherd. Up until about 4 or 5 years ago, they were operating at 5 days a week. Now it's only 4 days a week, and it's just sort of gnawed at me for many years. The senior budget analyst for Dutchess County this past Thursday gave a presentation to us the last known figure is we have about a $39.9 million budget surplus, basically a fund balance, which is about 9% of the county budget. So there's a little bit of extra change to throw around. It would only take about $232,000 to bring back the 5-day week for the Senior Friendship Center, so we're hoping to build up support on that. Also, we used to have a Dutchess County Office of Consumer Affairs, Dutchess County Human Rights Commission. Bringing back those 3 things, the 5-day week for the senior centers, the Office of Consumer Affairs, and the Human Rights Commission would be less than $500,000, which is about 1/80th of the fund balance we have now. So I'm hoping to build support on that. I did get a bunch of us, some of us last night to sign a letter I circulated about IDA reform. A couple years ago, it went into effect across the state. If you're an industrial development agency and if you help a business with certain tax breaks and that business fails to perform, the state portion of those tax breaks, that company has to pay them back. But as far as on the county level, the county property taxes, the county sales taxes, the county mortgage tax, that's really up to county by county. And I think it's a good idea for Dutchess County to do what Erie County decided to do a while ago, and a clawback provision, basically saying if you're getting a lot of help in tax dollars and economic assistance from the county, you're getting a lot of funding and you're not going to keep your promises, that's not really helpful to us. So a bunch of us signed a letter, I circulated on that. Something I've been working on with the Dutchess County Deputy Planning Commissioner Ron Hicks. I got a new economy task force for Dutchess County started. We had our first meeting with about 20 people in Poughkeepsie. We're hoping to meet around the county. Our next meeting is going to be Tuesday, the 19th of May at 5:30 p.m. at the Vassar store in Poughkeepsie. You're all invited. And that's at the corner of Raymond and College View Avenues. And we're thinking about locally owned and board substitution and a genuine progress index for Dutchess County, which Skip Backus of the Omega Institute has been pushing for a couple of years, at least on a state level. What else did I want to say? I think that's just about it. I'm doing my annual essay contest. 12th annual year of basically if you're a high school senior, you're graduating Rhinebeck High, it's 500 words or less on what you would do if you were in my position. And so I need those emailed to me or sent to the county legislature offices by June 15th. And you know, basically announce that during the commencement exercises. They get $100 savings bonds and a chance to talk about it on my radio show. So it's Joel Tyner at earthlink.net. I'm at 464-2245, 876-2488. I think that's just about it. The only other thing is I left some copies over there. The one thing that Lucille Pattison, the late, great former county executive, we worked on, we started sort of the drive for in Dutchess County in the late 90s was county level campaign finance reform. And we got to deal with pay to play in county government. And we got the Poughkeepsie Journal to 2 editorials about this. And Orange County did something about it. They passed a law a couple years ago. The Republican majority. Rockland County passed a law in the 90s. I'm telling you, as basically the only guy in Dutchess County who's been researching and advocating strongly on this for a couple decades. A lot of the same names that are getting massive county contracts are still making large donations. And if you don't believe me, look at the, I left the vendor list. I have a working relationship with the county comptroller, and the vendor list, basically all of the contracts for Dutchess County, every single penny that's spent, big and small, it's right over there, and you can just match them up with the donations at the New York State Board of Elections website. And unfortunately, I've been trying to get a law passed to deal with that. We all know about Shelley Silver and Dean Skelos and pay to play. If we're serious about dealing with what's going on in Dutchess County government, at the very least, county level campaign finance form like Orange County and Rockland County should be allowed on the agenda for committee day. The powers that be are not allowing that onto the agenda for committee day. So feel free to talk to them about that. Talk to me. I'm at 876-2488. Got to run to the Town of Clinton Town Hall, Town Board meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Joel.
Thank you, Joel.
Next on our agenda is an engineering report from Steve. Wow. Heinz, do you want to introduce our guests?
This is Troy Wojciechowski from Stantec. Troy and his associates have been working on putting a hydraulic analysis together and made recommendations of making a in terms of where to go from here. And take it away, Troy.
That's yours.
Don't touch that dial.
Good. Thank you, Heinz. First off, we'd like to thank the village board for contracting with Stantec to perform this study. Secondly, we'd like to thank Trustee Heinz for inviting us to put on a little show tonight. We'll keep it brief. And also for all the hard work that Heinz has put into data gathering, and really the hard work he's put into mapping the water systems and all the utilities, and a lot of the guts that went into our model were the result of Heinz's hard work, so I recommend a raise for Heinz.
Done.
As Heinz mentioned, Stantec was contracted to essentially advance a concept study that was performed last year on the village's water system. And the main purpose of this was to determine the preliminary design requirements for a new water line on Montgomery Street from Springbrook down to East Market Street. That was a phase 1 improvement that was recommended in the concept study. And so we were hired to take it one step further and actually do a hydraulic analysis to prove out exactly what size main would be suitable for that stretch of Route 9. And then subsequently to that, the study was expanded by the village for Stantec to assess improvements along Livingston, Chestnut, and Platt, as well as really village-wide in the water system. Just real briefly, the village water system gets water from the Hudson River. It's treated off of the treatment plant by Slate Dock Road. Water is pumped up this location up to a water storage tank, 2 million gallon 2 million gallon water storage tank, and then the water flows back through the system. As you can see from this map, we've highlighted basically in green, we call them basically main trunk lines. They're usually larger diameter water mains, 8, 10, 12, 16-inch mains, where all the orange lines are really just service mains. And in this case, a lot of them are 4 and 6-inch mains. In general, the village water system is very old. Most of the components of the system are over 100 years old. A lot of the system was initially installed in the early 1900s with, you know, some limited improvements in the 70s. And most recently, the village is proceeding with a program to replace a lot of the outdated hydrants, which we think is a great idea. Okay, so real quick, we will show you. This is basically the guts of the model. And what went into this model, basically, we obtained GIS information from Dutchess County, and that helped us to produce this graphic as well as the guts that go into the model. From that GIS information, we obtained parcel data, roads, as well as point data for all of the lots. So what's important about that is through Heinz and the water department, we were able to actually calibrate the water usage from quarterly bills to each and every address that you see. Okay, so it's a very accurate model. Typically, if you don't have that type of coordinated model, you have to make assumptions as far as you know, types of lots, you know, average types of consumption, where in this case we were able to use actual data inputted for each and every address. So that not only does that make that a very accurate model, but it also allows the flexibility that you can keep updating the model as you know, flows change, usage changes with different users. So you can't really see anything on that, but this is really the guts of the model. Okay, now just going to the results of the model, we basically determined on this first phase look, this lavender line is a proposed 12-inch water line up Route 9. We initially looked at taking it all the way to South Street, since this is the 16-inch trunk line that comes from the treatment plant, but there is an 8-inch line right here that we, after we went through the iterations of the model, we determined that that 8-inch can stay for now, and we can cut down on the cost and actually take it from East Market Street up to Springbrook. And what I want to show you, yes, you can see it. So we prepared this table that compares some key fire hydrants and their flows, just to show you what the improvements would result in. So these hydrants are on the south end of the main on Route 9, and these are the existing fire flows from those hydrants. This is on the north end up near the hospital, and these are existing flows on a hydrant on Livingston, Chestnut, and Platt. So the next column compares just installing the 12-inch line up Route 9, and you can see there's a modest increase in flows on the south end, much higher increase in flows from, say, 1,300 up to 1,900 on the north end, and really not real significant increases in flows on the side streets with just putting the 12-inch main up Route 9. The next column includes installing new 8-inch lines on the side streets, which you can see on this figure here. Here's Livingston here. That's a new 8-inch line in that location, Chestnut and Platt. So with the 12-inch line up 9 and with those new 8-inch lines, you can see the flows are very dramatically increased along the side streets. Livingston, Chestnut, and Platt go from 566 to almost 2,000 gallons a minute. So we've identified those two components of this analysis as your phase 1 recommended improvements. And what that will do is really increase the fire flows to your commercial district up Route 9 through the heart of the village, as well as increasing flows in the heart of the village as far as the residential area. And it also provides the flexibility if, God forbid there is a fire in the heart of the village, that you can hook up on hydrants on Route 9, but then you also have significant flows to hook up close by on the side streets. We did look at, let's show this. We did look at a couple other scenarios, kind of village-wide, to see what improvements the village might want to consider, kind of down the road in the future. And from more of a macro level, what would really benefit the village as a whole as far as water flows. And one project that we identified was to replace this pipe here in Lavender with a new 8, 10, or 12-inch pipe. And what that really does is it helps to create a loop and replaces this old, running out of power.
Oh, you're not plugged in all the way, that's all.
Oh, okay. There we go. That's a close one. So what that does is really creates redundant loops through the village. And if we go back up to that table, you can see with the first two improvements plus a new 12-inch line, as I just showed you, down 308, you really increase the flows to over 3,000 gallons per minute in the main district, the main commercial district. So that's something that the village, should consider in the future as an overall improvement. An 8. Yeah, but it's an old 8. Yeah, in fact, I think parts of it's 6 and an 8, I think. Okay, so we did some costing, and this is just the costing for the Route 9 12-inch main. Because it's a conceptual design, we put a contingency of 25% on it, just because you really have to flesh out the costs as you get into the real design. We included design fees, legal, bonding and those types of things, and we came up with a total cost of the project of about $900,000 for that first line down Main Street. And when we did a separate table here for the side streets, Livingston, Chestnut, and Platt, and that was about $1 million for those additional lines. And one line that we didn't really focus on, but we would recommend as we do this to, if as money allows, is to look at this section on South Street as well, because that's an existing 4-inch line that's old, and again, that's going to tie into this main loop eventually. You know, so that line there is something to consider as well. Heinz, anything else you wanted me to hit on? Yeah, I think we're.
The tables, Troy?
Sure.
What are the footages between, so the side streets are, is it about 4,000 or 5,000 square feet, linear feet?
Oh yeah, the let's look at the cost table.
Yeah. So it's.
It looks like we have a repeat there, but yeah, it looks like Livingston was the longest because we actually had to go to Beach Street. So I think that's the top one. That's the 2,400 linear feet, and I think that's a typo. That should be Chestnut and Platt. I think we're about the same, about 1,300 feet each.
6,000 feet for $1 million. And go to the 12-inch.
Sure.
It's 2,500 feet.
Right. So the difference in the costing really is related to construction on Route 9, maintenance and protection of traffic, you know, restoration fees, things like that. So you have less pipe on Route 9, but you have much higher restoration costs and maintenance and protection of traffic.
Bigger impact, yeah.
So, you know, one thing to look at as, just to kind of wrap up here, you know, once this goes into formal design and permitting, you know, some things that we're going to consider if Stantec is hired to do that work are different methods of construction. You know, there's some directional drilling techniques that can be used. There's pluses and minuses. The pluses are less disruption with traffic, but you also have to weigh the fact that, you know, every time you have to put a service connection to all the adjacent buildings, you have to dig in and get down to that main for that connection. But we anticipate probably multiple methods of construction would be effective on this project. So that's what I have. So I don't know if the board has any.
You made a comment that it wasn't necessary to go between East Market Street and South Street. That you cut that out of the.
Correct. Right.
And the reason for that is that a newer?
It's a newer 8-inch line, and it's because it's relatively short. Yep. The friction losses through there, even if we went with the 12-inch all the way down, the incremental increases in flows compared to the costs, we think it should be done eventually. Right. Just like, you know, basically the whole system needs to be improved and replaced over time. But looking at, you know, cost benefit, we thought we think you can hold off on that initially and, you know, work on some of the other problems.
So you do think it should probably be done at some point?
Yes, yes.
So we could do that as an alternate, maybe, if budget-wise we can.
Well, depends on how we come up with money.
Right. Yeah.
There's one more thing, Roy. Can you put the map up there again?
Sure. This one?
That's, yeah, that section between South Parsons Street and the intersection of Market and 308. That's about 1,000 feet. We figure about $100 a foot.
No.
Well, that construction costs about $100 a foot. Unfortunately, by the time you do the permitting and the rest of it, it'd probably be 150 or more for total budget with the bonding and, you know, all the other.
So we talk about probably another 150 or so for,
yes,
for that section there. Okay. But that is actually a pretty bad piece of pipe there.
Yes, 4-inch and it's old.
There we saw it, and it's probably only a 2-inch pipe left out of the 4-inch.
Right, right.
And I think it would make a lot of sense to connect to the 308 line and the South Parsonage line. Okay.
So what's the next step?
Can I ask a question? So the flow on East Market Street is okay, Heinz,
The flow right now is okay, yeah.
because we had that water main break there.
Well, but the water main break was not a main break, it was with the hydrant exploded.
Oh,
It was the old hydrant that we just had made pretty, and then it broke. It was not a main.
so, the connections, the service connections. Are we gonna try to make sure they're all done before we dig up the road, so that we don't have to dig it up again like every other year? Certain.
What do you mean by service?
Well, to the people's property.
You have to first lay the line,
Right,
and then you make the service connections.
but you're gonna put new service connections when you're laying in the line?
Well, in many of them. And we want to make sure that when we do that, that we have the right kind of copper pipe in there, because a lot of these pipes are probably steel and probably corroded and
Right.
probably leaking.
But since that is the homeowner's responsibility, can we make them do that? My question is, we're gonna put the new pipe in, then we're gonna put the new road down. A year later, so-and-so's pipe is gonna need a new connection, the other person, so we're gonna be digging up the road,
What I would
little
say-
by little.
What I would say, Howie, is if we find a line that is steel pipe, we should request the homeowner to do it, to fix it. Because that sooner or later, he's gonna lose, that particular homeowner is gonna lose water service. Because we have seen in many areas here in the village, in Rhinecliff, that we have corroded pipes, that they spring leaks, or they are so tuberculated inside, there's hardly any flow coming there. So it's up to the homeowners, we should actually tell them, you should do that. Now, I don't know, if we have the political will to do that.
Right.
But I would strongly suggest we lean on them to do that.
Won't they have to do it, though? I mean,
Every service connection.
If you're gonna have to do, because you're gonna abandon an old line, so they're gonna be connected to an old line eventually, right?
Well, no, but the question is the service line. A lot of the service lines are coated steel pipes, and they need to be replaced. If they are copper lines,
Right.
they can just make extensions to it and then connect to the new.
So to
line.
Howie's point, though, is I think how everyone's gonna be at the main, there'll be new connections for everybody. Whether it goes all the way into their lot or their building, that's gonna be up to the homeowner. I mean, so but
No, but when a homeowner puts a new line in, it goes out into the street.
no, but they're gonna make the connection in the street to the private property.
We're responsible.
Because
For that.
they'll eventually be only connected to an abandoned line. They're gonna abandon an old line. So you're gonna have to make a new connection.
If I could answer part of that, we're right now doing 3 miles of pipeline in a community very similar to yours with 100-year-old lines. And the way that we wrote the contract was, the contractor puts in the new pipeline, puts in the service to the property line right next to where their existing curb stop is. We have an inspector right there from the village to look at it. If it's an old galvanized line, we'll have the contractor try to make a connection. If he can't, we did one the other day, they dug back 2 feet, then they dug back another 2 feet, and they finally found something they could have gone to. We can notify the homeowner that their pipe is in a very bad situation. The problem I think you're getting to, sir, is that it may be so bad that the rust and the dirt are holding the line together. And the minute you get near it, now that house is out of water. And they'll be blaming all of you folk, even though it's their old line that's corroded. But it is a very difficult situation, and there's going to be some hardship. There's going to be people who say, oh, I haven't got $2,000 to make that change. The other thing is, if that galvanized goes in,
What about an insurance claim? I mean, could the homeowner?
again, it would depend on their coverage. That galvanized line goes in through their foundation. I had my own experience in my house. I touched a piece of galvanized pipe, and I ended up working down in the basement for the whole day, because every place you touch that old galvanized, and like the gentleman said, the inside of the pipe was so corroded, barely any water was getting through. But it is a significant point. There is a way to handle it contractually for the new construction, but you're still going to end up with some individual problems.
But there may be a possibility that if you get some kind of a bulk contract, that you can have a number of people contractor that and get a better price to do it. We have seen some people here on East Market Street, they had virtually a pinhole left to put the water through the pipe. It was so bad, and they got no water pressure, and then they decided on their own to fix it. But it is a real problem with galvanized pipes, and they do need to be fixed. I would suggest that we ask the people to do it, period, if they have galvanized pipes, to exchange them with copper. It's in their own interest to do that. Sure. And maybe they can. There's a way to borrow money to do it, but I am firmly of the belief that we need to fix these pipes, the service lines.
But how about, we would pave over all new connections. So if we dug in the road and put in a new line and made the connections, all those new connections, those would be in place, and then you wouldn't disturb that pavement. Any other disturbance would happen.
When I had to put a new line in mine, it went out into the middle of the road.
I know, but what I'm saying is that connection will be made as a part of this.
How can it be halfway then? You're saying it's going to be halfway. You're going to go from the
That's exactly right. They'll put an extension onto the private property.
So then it'll be different than what happens now. That the homeowner doesn't have to go out to the middle of the road.
Right.
Well, that's good.
Well, there's a curb box there, which is on the edge of each street. And I think part of the contract would be to bring the things to the curb box.
Right, and that's included with those cost estimates. We estimated a cost for that.
We do have a significant loss of water still. We don't know where we lose it. We suspect it is part of the old service lines which are current still.
What about grants? Have you gone for grants before? Because I've heard in the past that this is one of the easier ways to get grant money for new water lines. And the other part of my question is, I'm part of the highway department. We have storm drain lines. I was wondering if we could do both at once, just tear up the road once.
We've done some initial kind of poking around because those grants are always becoming available. In fact, just had a meeting yesterday and a new CFA grant program was just announced, I think, last week, that's specifically related to municipalities and their infrastructure, roads, utilities, that sort of thing. It's a 60-40 split, and that's something that we could help the village with pursuing because, and Bruce can maybe add to this, some of these programs become so cumbersome as far as the tracking, the paperwork, and all the additional requirements that go along with obtaining grants, that sometimes it almost isn't worth it. So it really depends on the grant and the program. But Stantec certainly has that experience. Bruce has that experience as well. So that's, I think we provided Heinz already some initial information, but again, these grants are always coming out, and I think, something we came
I actually had gone to some seminars on that, and there's two issues that we have. Number one, a lot of the grants are available for sewer, fewer for water. But the ones that are for water, there are so many. First of all, we have a very high income in this village, so we don't qualify for low interest rate loans and so on. And other neighborhood villages and towns have had better luck with that. But we find that in the current environment, financial environment, that the cost of money is so cheap that you don't really gain much by going to the EFC, the Environmental Funding Corporation, and we can probably get money at 3.25%, which is the same amount, or 3.5%, which is the same amount that you get from some of the funding agencies, the state funding agencies. And as Troy said, the hurdle rate and the cost of administering is so high that it eats up a lot of the gains. So my recommendation, and certainly I'd also listen to you, would be to go to find a bonding company and go out and float a commercial bond on that.
Well, on Platt Avenue, we talked about putting stormwater lines in because there's none over there. So is it possible to put them next to the water lines?
Yeah, you need a 10-foot separation
10
typically
foot?
from water, right?
Yeah.
Drainage or sewer.
We do need to fix the streets.
Well, that's why I want to do it once, you know?
It could certainly be put in the same design, but I agree with what's said here as far as the funding.
Yeah.
Low-interest loans, you might get something, but it's really grant money you're looking for. You're looking for
Yeah.
somebody who's going to have a grant for, whether it's historic preservation or, you know, there's some other niche you can fall into to get absolute grant money. Sometimes that's hard to find, but yeah, as far as digging up the street to put a water line, we need some storm drainage improvements, we can certainly put those on the plans. There is an economy of scale. You've got the contractor there, you're already digging up the street, you're going to do some restoration, paving a ditch 2 feet wide or paving something, 2 feet wide next to it. There are some economies that can be had by combining those. But obviously, if you ran parallel storm drainage for the entire system, it would be different. For just a couple of streets.
Yeah, we don't have any storm drainage on Platt Avenue, so
At all.
that would be a priority.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. So before we move on to our department reports, we do have a couple of visitors here. I don't know, did you guys sign in and want to address the board on any specific topics? If you didn't, you can just step on up there.
What do you do on the agenda?
We will address you as well. That's Mr. Kershaw. Do you want to address him first?
Well, you want to get approval to your...
I'm seeking a waiver of the requirement to have a separate water service for...
Yeah, we, as far as I'm concerned, you got a waiver.
I have a waiver.
Yeah,
Okay. That's it, I'm good to go.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
Don't you want to stay?
Now, there's one thing though. You had left a check with the clerk. I assume the clerk still has the check? So
Right there.
you just return the check to him.
I can do that right now. I brought it with
This
me.
is all so easy.
So there was some discussion between the lawyer and looking at the code, and so it was resolved before we got here. So.
If you can just sign that you received it for me, please, just so I know.
No, we agreed. You and I talked about it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Did you sign the list first? Okay.
My name is Diana Cohen, and I'm the founder of Primrose Hill School, which, as I assume you know, is in the village of Rhinebeck. And I'm here basically to introduce myself to you, and in retrospect, I would have come here sooner. It's come to my attention, and I know that there has been some negative perception on our project, and I feel like it's really miscommunication and some ignorance on our part on how we've proceeded with our project. So I've written up it's a very unofficial document. It's just a narrative, just to give you a little bit of history and context as to how this came about and what our vision is. A lot of it arises from our meetings with the planning board, so hopefully this will make sense to you. And just, here, I'll give this. Just to summarize a little bit, we started a school. We envision it to go through 12th grade. We have a vision to do a farm store. We're very passionate about education and about the land here. I mean, I particularly am so grateful to be living in this area. And I feel that at the core, our values are really aligned. And I believe that the village and you can really get behind what we're doing. And this is my first step to make that happen. Relationships are very important to me. So I hope to get to know each of you personally and remedy any damage that we've done to our reputation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
Because I was at one of the planning board meetings.
I'm sorry.
I was at one of the planning board meetings, and one of the planning board members questioned you on a farm, and then somebody had said, no, we're not going to have a farm. But then the planning board member said, well, why are you promoting that? And they said, well, we haven't been able to update our website for 2 years. So are you having a farm or not having a farm?
Yes. I don't know. I think that maybe it was a miscommunication, or maybe I was answering a different question. When I did mention updating the website, it was because the lady who was talking about a specific portion of the website and talking about the acreage and something. So I did go back to look at what our mission was to make sure it was still our vision, and I do believe it is. And then, yes, we do want to have a farm. Now, a farm has different meanings. So in terms of the translation of what that means is something that is up for discussion, and we're working, our intention is to work very closely with John and with the planning board to get everything straightened out. And also, when I say farm, we do have a small farm at our property. Our larger picture is to have a large farm that isn't that farm. So there is a bigger picture to that. And whatever we do on that property will be in complete compliance with whatever the code is with the village. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
And I do hope you come visit. And my information is on the piece of paper.
Garrett, 119 East Market. I was going to bring 2 questions, but I'm dropping one, which has to do with my waiver for a water tap. Just don't want to finish the building now, so obviously I don't need water in it. The reason why I came particular that was on the mission, and that John gave me a little push to do this, to come and take up a second of your time. So it's the bluestone sidewalks. And some people, like myself, think they're a treasure. And some people very justifiably think that they're a treacherous liability because they move around. The problem is getting good antique bluestone. It's very difficult to lay your hands on. And it happens just in this last week. Somebody demonstrated this because the sidewalk going up the side of Center Street, I believe, has been shipped away and replaced with some very nice bluestone, but not antique bluestone. So in front of my house, that's 65 feet, I have about 4 broken stones. I think they're about 30 inches by 4 feet. And they're 2 inches. And they're very nice stones, but as I said, 4, maybe 5 of them are broken. How do I get those stones? And how would those stones ever match with the ones that I have? Now, I know you guys have too many things, too many problems that you're thinking about. But when you get a moment, if you could take a look at this bluestone issue, how do we keep the antique bluestone here? Because whatever bluestone costs, and it isn't cheap, it's 3 times as much if you want it as an antique. And if you have a person who has 65 feet and 10 feet or 7 feet is gone, I'm looking at it, I don't want a concrete sidewalk, I don't want to put in new stones that don't match. And some of the stones are going to go away, and some of the sidewalks are going to get turned into concrete. So I wonder if there's some way that you can keep the good bluestone from leaving town and keep it here. I don't see the mechanism. I'm certainly willing to help to some extent. If you can think of an idea, I'm putting this problem on the end of many more serious problems that you have to think about. If you go up Center Street, it just happens this is manifest right now. You know, where is the good bluestone going to go, and how are we going to keep it here for the people who want to have a nice antique sidewalk? So,
What makes a bluestone antique? I mean, it's
the finish.
The finish.
The finish. You won't, you know, I mean, nobody could, I don't think, maybe Scott has a better idea or a different idea, but it's very hard to get that stuff that was cut 100 and 150 years ago. It's been sitting out in the weather. It's beautiful stuff if you like. I mean, you have to like stone. There are people who think, well, you know, for the little carts and stuff, the electric wheelchairs, concrete would be better. But if we just wanted the look, we'd actually somehow notify people, hey, if you're going to replace your sidewalk, or if you guys have to replace a sidewalk. I mean, the whole thing, it's a big problem. Where are we going to stockpile it? How are people going to get the right size? I don't have those answers. I'm just watching the material leave town and going like, I wish I could get a couple of chunks of that. So.
Well, I just thought of something looking at John Fenton.
Our John Fenton?
You know, Larry, I think you might be confusing the sidewalks that are concrete and then bluestone. Bluestone, we're looking just to lift and level. So the bluestone should be staying where it's always been. It's the concrete that we're looking to get replaced. So I don't think there's been any case that we've seen anybody remove bluestone.
Yeah, what about the house right here on Livingston where they just poured a new sidewalk that goes right up to the house? They ripped up all the bluestone. It looks like they're getting ready to pour that.
Okay, so that's like the only one that I know of, but.
I thought that's what you're talking about.
It just happened that manifest, but believe me, over the 10 years, I've seen it leaving town, right? If a contractor comes in and says, I'm gonna pour the concrete thing, he's gonna throw the antique bluestone on his
Well, you know,
truck.
yeah, exactly, and he's gonna sell it to somebody who wants to buy it like you.
Yes, exactly. So, you know, I mean, I find the whole status of the sidewalks very confusing. Anyway,
Unfortunately, it's the property owner's responsibility. And that property owner, who knows, maybe they're giving them bluestone in lieu of pay, or I don't know, you know, it could be some type of.
there's a lot of parts of it. There's a lot of.
What about our historic district? Is there something that is there not enough teeth in that code that gives us the latitude to make them retain the bluestone?
Or give it to the village or something?
I mean, no, if we're gonna do that, we want them to keep it. I mean, if they live in the historic district, it's a historic home or building, you want the historic materials to stay with it, right?
I'm not sure if the provision covers sidewalks, but I'll check.
I don't, they
Can you
probably.
add that to the to-do list for the zoning commission?
The tree commission actually approached me about speaking to the zoning commission about this very issue, and you know, we would probably never stipulate what people can do, but we can provide some guidelines, so.
That's all I'm really saying.
We would love to get your input, that'd be great.
The sidewalks can only be three things: concrete, bluestone, or pavers. That's written into the code. But as far as restricting those materials in the historic district, I'm not sure that's done.
Yeah,
But you could restrict changing it from bluestone if it is bluestone.
But what Larry was saying though,
Yeah.
you know, for instance, if someone had 65 feet of sidewalk and 30 of it was bad, you'd want them to would you want them to put new bluestone in?
Which
It's certainly
costs a
better.
fortune.
Well, I'm just saying, is it
It was
better?
antique, it matched.
Exactly.
Well, in 100 years, it all looks similar.
Exactly.
It's a non-problem, and I know you guys have more important things to do. I just wanted to bring the subject up and put it on your trip.
But there's no building permit for sidewalks, right?
Well, not officially. We are requiring people to come in, let us know, you know, what they're doing, how they're basically forming out the concrete. There is specs that you gotta comply with. And especially pertaining to trees on the street, they have to be very careful with the roots and so on. So, and we're trying to push the structural soil in that whole mix. So we are having people come in and they're letting us know
Well,
there isn't any permit.
Right, but my idea is if somebody is taking out bluestone, maybe you can be the negotiator, okay, can you leave the bluestone for us? If you know somebody's tearing out a sidewalk and putting in concrete.
We can ask.
Yeah, we can ask, but I mean, you would be the person that would know.
It does bring up the problems. Who pays to transport it to the garage? Where do we store it? How does it?
Who gets it?
Yeah, it's a
The
mess.
reason why that bluestone is up is because the root is kicking it up.
Right.
I mean, so it's just a matter of leveling it out and bringing it back down. As opposed to a concrete sidewalk caving in. It's two different repairs.
One thing we should be clear about, though, is you can't tear out a sidewalk and not replace it.
Right.
We've seen that happen.
Really?
Yeah.
Got a third one in my neighborhood, third one in the last year.
South
just hooked up the
Parsonage.
sidewalk.
South Parsonage, yeah. And here with the planning board meets every 2 weeks, and a lot of the applications, it's all about maintaining a pedestrian village and building sidewalks and maintaining sidewalks, not maintaining, but building them. And then every once in a while, we get a rogue resident tearing out their sidewalks, which is not what we want to do.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Larry. So while we have John here, he, I had asked Mike, you should have that on the table, on the bottom there.
Yeah.
I'd asked Mike Wolf to give us a kind of rundown on some of the things going on in the highway department. So other than the regular report, you know, in terms of our equipment inventory and condition, and so John's going to, in lieu of Mike, John is going to give us a little report here.
Everybody has a copy?
Yes.
Okay. So it's the highway report for April and part of May, and the status on the spring and summer priority list that Mike received. So the highway report, the paving estimates for the firehouse parking lot, they've come in. You have those, Heath? Those?
I do. I have a few of them.
Okay, there's supposed to be one or two more coming in.
Okay.
Right now, the blacktop state rate is $58.70 per ton. Mike Wolf was saying whatever bids you're getting, we have to pull out that.
Well, I'm seeing,
price.
I don't know what it, the ones I saw, at least two of them, I believe they said 587.
587?
Yeah, and this is 5870, so.
Factor of 10.
What is it,
Yours
Scott?
Right, 587.
Oh, because Mike kept telling me it was 5870, I said, well, that
Well, let me
can't
ask you
be
this,
the
what
market.
did you use to solicit bids, though? Did you have an old specification or something?
No, it wasn't a bid package. It was a request for proposal,
Okay.
so.
Okay.
But it probably turned out to be more than originally expected.
The highway department installed two or a few zone signs, school zone signs, and speed and safety signs on Knollwood Road. There was a catch basin on Livingston Street that collapsed and was repaired and blacktopped. There were also several potholes blacktopped on Center Street. Center Street right now is a priority for repairs. It's probably one of the worst streets here in the village. It's going to be scheduled to be one of the first streets that's going to be taken care of in the month of June. The highway department will be borrowing the DOT's drag box and an aggregate spreader for asphalt. They're going to be using that for the entire month of June. I'm also going to submit to the board tonight just a proposal for an aggregate spreader for your review, just to take a look at it. It might be something that we may be interested in possibly purchasing down the road. It does take 6 to 8 weeks to get it, but I'd like to have you guys take a look at it, and just, we can talk about things later on, but I think it might be a priority at some point. There was a repair on a low water shutoff with a riser and blacktop also on Knollwood Road. There's brush pickup, which is an ongoing service. The highway department starts on the north side, works its way to the south side, then they repeat the cycle. The staging area behind the highway garage is almost at its maximum. So they are kind of concerned. Even though the mulch sales are doing well, they're getting cramped with space. The remaining items left on the spring and summer priority list are as follows. The brush and yard waste pickup, that's continuous, so that's gonna never be, it's a never-ending service, and that's something I want to talk to the board about at some point. I'm going to be proposing a new pickup schedule. There's a couple of options that we can take. I know this is probably an important service to the public, but I think it's a service that should be consolidated to some extent. I don't know of any other municipality that offers this service year-round, so it's something we should probably consider. Everybody should have the equipment inventory that was emailed to all the trustees on May 7th. If you don't, let me know. And it's just an inventory of the equipment and the status of the condition and so on. In your packet tonight, there's a street inventory, and that's basically just a list of the streets that the highway department are looking to pave. And if there's any issues with any of these, if you can, just email me, let me know. If there's something that sticks out or something that you want to be a priority, let me know. Also on this list, I think we're going to be adding the road repair on the corner of Montgomery and Market, right in front of the cigar shop. I think Tom had that scheduled with Art Smith. I'm waiting to hear back from Art Smith, but I'm not sure if he's going to come through. If he doesn't, then that's going to be probably the second or third section that we repair.
They were there for a couple hours last week.
Yeah,
Art Smith.
I'll find out. Oh, was he?
They were cutting the road.
They did the cuts, but they come back and pave it.
Yeah.
Right.
It took him a long time when he did ours. It took him months and months and months. He's so busy there.
Yeah, we kind of want to get that done as soon as possible.
Why can't the highway department do that?
I didn't know what was going on with the water, if the water department was hiring
And
somebody or.
I sent the email out to Tom. I wasn't sure if he had any type of agreement with Art for that particular section, but I mentioned to the highway that they're going to probably do it if I don't get.
Do they have a roller heavy enough to do that?
I don't know.
Go rent one.
Yeah, we
talking about around by the hydrant up there?
Get one of those. They got a hand one, a filled one.
I don't know if it's heavy enough. I'll find out.
Is it a push one or is it a?
We might be able to borrow one.
It's a push one they got?
Yeah.
Mechanical one?
The Legion Park, the flagpole and the pulleys are repaired. With respect to the illumination, that's pending. Did anybody from the board get anything on that?
I have two estimates on that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. And Rockefeller Lane, that's still going to be on schedule. I don't see it a problem, meeting the deadline on June 17th. And that's with the completion of the installation of the under drain. Okay. And then,
John, can I harken back on
Yeah.
item number 5 on the highway report, where you say that Center Street is a priority? Why is that a priority? Is that a priority to do what?
just do the repairs on it, the asphalt.
Repairs.
The asphalt.
I tell you, in the last few days, I drove up and down Astor Drive, and it was horrible.
Okay.
I think it's probably one of the worst streets that in the village. You may want to take.
It's right at the hill, right from east of the woods, right?
East of the woods, yeah.
It's about Astor Drive.
I did, I just seen that. Okay.
Just about, on, not town property, but village property.
Right, okay. And, you know, what I can do with the board is, prior to us going out, I can give you a revised list, and if somebody wants to make any changes.
Well, I guess the question I have is, how do you prioritize? You know, what criteria is being used to prioritize?
Condition, traffic flow. I don't know what formula Mike's using, and I'll get with him, but to me, it would be condition and traffic flow.
You may want to check with Kathy Kinsella. She prioritizes all her roads.
Basically, what I asked for was two lists, because we're going to have, you know, if we're going to use CHIPS funding, that'll be for a section of replacement. So that would be one list. You know, what long stretch are we replacing like we did last year on Asher and Rockefeller? And then another list for the patching that needs to be done without, you know, full roads. So some of these, you know, Montgomery would be something that we would do, hopefully with some CHIPS money. That's going to be a big project, but we'll wait till after the hospital's done for that.
But I think that's going to be done by the hospital people.
The road?
The road.
Probably not, but
No?
maybe we can talk them into it.
Well, there
That'd
was,
be great.
because of the heavy truck.
They really don't. There's not a lot of heavy equipment that goes down and through there, but it's not part of the
It's all
approval.
hand tools.
No, it's not that, but it wasn't negotiated, but maybe we can negotiate with them. You know, I know that you've done some stuff with parking and such, maybe we can get them to at least patch the potholes. Howie, what do you usually budget for repairs every year for these type of repairs?
Well, we look at what I'm looking at right now, our CHIPS money that we have $78,997.
But not CHIPS money. What do we even just ever budget patching and repairs with our own funds?
No. But we have a street.
I think
Yeah,
water
it's in there.
has its own separate budget.
It's in there for patching and repairs, but this one down here would come out of the water budget.
That's a different one. But I'm just talking about, like, for instance, Astor Drive.
No, we don't say, well, we're going to spend $20,000 on patching and repair. We just go around and see where the priority areas are. And we have money in our street
maintenance.
Maintenance,
budget.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
With respect to the sidewalk grant, we have a list almost a mile long, and I know we only have to work with 15,000. Pat received, I think, all the bids, right? And so it looks like we can probably repair about 30 feet of sidewalk. So out of the list I have, I'm thinking maybe somebody, or Mike Wolf, myself, and somebody from the board can prioritize.
Well, let me ask you a
30
question.
feet?
Can we make that money go longer by doing some of the work ourselves? So what if we were to do the site work with our men and our machinery and have a concrete contractor just come in and form and pour? We could probably do 3 times as much, or at least twice as much, if we worked with that.
Sure. Absolutely.
So maybe we should, you know, I saw some of the bids today, but maybe we can break it down to just doing forming and pouring, and we can do the demolition and the prep.
Part of the issue on this is a time
You'd have to-
constraint. It's supposed to be done by the end of June.
Okay, that's still, we can do it.
You'd have to rebid it because
Yeah.
We have to rebid it?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, the low bid was what, $15 a square foot?
Yes.
With the specs per the code?
yes.
I mean, we could reach out to the contractors that submitted the bid and maybe get something really quick.
Yeah, just
Do
ask
that.
them to break their bid down to
Yeah.
those items. No? Just a suggestion.
Okay.
Yes or no? Do I do that?
What's that?
Do I reach out to them and ask?
I think we're gonna have to look at it separately, have another,
Can we meet
Discussion
Thursday?
about-
You're around Thursday, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I can reach out,
it comes
reach
down
out
to
to the
30
contractor.
linear feet of a 3-foot wide sidewalk, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100 square feet times $15 is 15,000.
Yeah, so that's what we're looking at. So if, like Scott made a good point. I mean, we can get them to form and demo and get everything all prepped up, ready to go.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay, so we'll meet Thursday, whenever. Give me a call.
And then the tree, I talked to Meg.
Meg, yeah.
Yeah, well, we've been playing phone tag, but I contacted the contractor from the Dutch Reform, and I'm trying to coordinate some type of meeting between Meg and them. But Meg, she wants a breakdown of what they're paying and so on. I think she's trying to analyze their budget, but I don't know if you want to go there. But, so, we want to take a look at the, I know they want the structural soil in there, and I don't know if that's going to be doable with their budget. It's pretty tight. So,
Okay.
all right,
Mhm.
okay.
Thank you.
All right.
So before, while we have John here, I would like, before he leaves, to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss the contract. Break from the normal schedule and do the executive session now. We'll come back.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think it's 300 feet, right?
That's what I thought it was 3. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to close our executive session and reopen the general session.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Guess I should find my agenda.
Yeah, see where we are.
Right back up to the top. Treasurer's report. So in the absence of our treasurer, I'll give a brief summary of the treasurer's report. We have in our general fund approximately $312,000, $520,000 in our capital equipment reserve, our water fund $536,000, sewer $792,000, for a total of $2.39 million. Vouchers for this month, which are downstairs and ready to be signed, $85,980 in general, water $66,155, and sewer $133,448. Karen just wanted to note that we have filed all of our necessary paperwork with the state for our tax cap and our also our tax freeze documentation with the county, which we're joining on their tax freeze plan to make us eligible for rebate checks in the next year, which is a 3-year reduction plan. We greatly exceeded the minimal 1% of savings that we had to show. So. Next.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Karen asked me to, there was 2 items on this, and she wanted me to make sure that we're covered. The Astor Home Pump Station, there's a resolution that needs to be done.
Oh, okay. I thought that was a summary of what we did already. No.
No, a resolution.
Do you have that, Gary?
What?
Okay. So we need to transfer. I'll make a resolution to approve the transfer from sewer capital projects to the sanitary sewer collection system line. The line numbers are in here in the amount of $16,150 for the purchase of materials for the Astor Home Pump Station upgrade.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
So we don't have to do anything on the first one, Pat?
Okay, she just wanted, just following her.
Yep. So just make sure to note the first comment there. So I think from there we can go on to the water department.
We treated in April 12,858,000 gallons, 12,858,000 gallons. I received a draft bid notice from Brinier and Larios to remove 400,000 gallons of sludge over a 3-year period of time. So the way we want to do that is that in 2015 we take 150,000 gallons out, in 2016 is 150, and in 2017 100,000 gallons. That should help us in the cost area. I have, we looked at, we had some vendors look at how to remove the sludge, because we got a hairpin turn up there going into the water plant. And we had just put the fence in there, which part of it we may have to take out to take some of the sludge out. But I am here today, want the board to authorize that we are sending out bid advertisements for the lagoon sludge removal. So I'd like your permission to do it. I have just gotten the draft proposal from Brinier and Larios for you to look at. We have 1 or 2 small things to iron out yet, but I don't want to wait another month to do that. So if we have to make some small changes to it, we can do this in terms of an addendum. So I'd like to make a motion to for the board to authorize the bid to advertise bids for sludge removal on the lagoon. Okay. To the tune of about 150,000 gallons this year. I have put money aside for that for a while. so that it's not going to be a money issue.
So Bernier and Larios wrote the bid specs for us?
Bid specs, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I got them right here.
Do we know they were going to do that?
I asked them to do it.
Okay.
I did not want to do it myself.
Okay.
So I asked, I asked Bernier and Larios, and the reason that I asked them is because they have done a lot of work for the Water and Sewer Department over the last 20, 30 years, and they know the area very well. So, and they came actually with an idea, of a different way to do it, and we did it the last time, which was about 15 years ago, where they took this stuff out and dumped it right in the back of the property, and we can't do that anymore. We actually have to take it out of the area because it's got aluminum in it.
So there has to be a second, right?
We have to have a second.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
That all you got, Heinz?
No, I got couple other things here.
Couple.
We talked about the water distribution system. We replaced the hydrant that you all know of that blew up when we had the last meeting here. We encountered 3 service line leaks. One of them on Rhinecliff Road, which was major, and we lost probably 500,000 gallons of water there. And we had one on North Hinterland and one on Hiley Road. And these were all small leaks, I'm told by Tom, and the homeowners fixed them, all of them at their own cost. We replaced or installed 22 additional eCoder water meters for a total year-to-date of 52. We have a total of 936 replaced by now. Violet Hill storage tank, we're in the process of soliciting bids to put auxiliary power in there. The power cannot be just some kind of a movable thing. We have to put it on a pad on the outside, and it has to be periodically tested, etc., etc., etc. We're probably talking between 5 and 10 grand for this over here. So this is on the way. It may take a little while, but it's going to get done. And that's all I have for today.
So we're going out and getting proposals for that?
Proposals, yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah. One thing is, unfortunately, Rich isn't here. I want to know what we did with this Justin Cole.
He said he'll meet with you. He wasn't able to make it tonight, but he'll meet with you. I don't know if that's what you had.
Yeah,
you were supposed to meet
I
with
had mine
him.
written up, and we never got around it, partly because I wasn't around and so on. But I want to get this put to bed here.
Okay.
And it's not.
Yeah, he wasn't able to make it tonight. So.
Oh, one other thing with this. If we go forward with the proposed putting lines in, new lines in there, we need to think about how do we want to structure our water districts here with respect to the town. And I had asked Rich to look into that. He sent me a proposal, and I was going to talk to that tonight, but again, we have to defer it to another time. But I think it's important that we think about this. That may make our hydrant system issues with the town go away. We have separate water districts, because then the people who actually get served by the hydrants have to pay the bill, which means they probably have to pay a higher bill than what they're paying now. But we need to look at that also in terms of if we take a loan, a major loan, that we have the means to enforce it if somebody doesn't want to pay for it, so that we can put a lien on it. We cannot do that right now. So these are the discussions I want to have with Rich about it. And he has to talk with the town about this, with the town attorney. Thank you.
Gary.
The wastewater facility report for April, there was 3.7 million gallons of wastewater treated, 23,600 gallons of sludge processed, and 4,350 pounds of sludge processed. And waiting to hear back from Crawford and Associates. A nice situation for us. Nancy Clark is being very cooperative, so all the information we'd received from Nancy Clark about building this shed at the intake point has been shared with Crawford and Associates, and I expect to hear from them with a proposal shortly. And Brandy Nelson also looked at the overall operation there, so we're looking to develop a short-term plan and a more long-term plan that I've sort of sketched out, but Brandy's going to help me finish that process.
Did we ever get that report on the sewer treatment plant? Didn't we?
From Woodard and Curran?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we did?
Yeah. Well, I found a report. You know what? I'm not sure about that. I mean, he gave us a summary. I don't know if we ever got the final, but I don't know if there was any more information, but I'll follow up.
On the sewer, we had, while I was in the office this afternoon, somebody came by, Pat Hoover, what is an engineering company?
Yes.
Who was looking for the termination line of the extension, and we didn't know, so we sent them to Peter. But they...
You're talking going down to Stop and Shop.
Right.
It's not on the map.
It's not on the map.
No.
Not on my map.
It's not on the map of the sewer plant.
But it's not on the map of the sewer, in the sewer plant either?
Right, Gary? The extension that goes down to Stop and Shop, do you remember looking at that with Woodard and Curran? It's not on the map.
Right.
It's not on the map.
So how did that happen? Right?
Is that because they paid for it, maybe? Do they own it, or?
No, the
Stop
village
and Shop?
owns it. I think it's user maintained, from what I understand.
Yeah, Anthony Gasparini.
Well, whoever the Stop and Shop
Right.
and,
Yeah. Could. So no one knows exactly where it ties in? That's the question.
where it ties in?
Yeah.
A general idea somewhere around the hospital.
Right. Nobody knows.
They don't know if it goes into the lift station here or what, so. That's the last I heard.
We probably should invest a little bit of money and do some research and try to figure that out. I think probably, I'm guessing, but if someone was coming to investigate where that line is, it probably has something to do with the old 00.
The old what?
Or the Rolling Rock building, that property. That's probably why. Was that it?
No, of Stop and Shop, because they...
Stop and Shop?
They want to upgrade their system, but there are potential other users that may
Right, but
want to jump on that. That could be why they're, it could be. Yeah, we don't know that. I should note that Brandy has offered to come to a workshop with us to discuss grant opportunities that are out there right now, so I'll send an email about that and we'll try to get it set up so that, she said there's a bunch of new ones out there or funding that's being released, so to talk about what may be applicable to our situation.
is that just for wastewater? Or?
No, just for everything.
Oh, okay.
There's one out there that just came out for developing parks and waterfronts, so that may work for Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that's on her radar. I just happened to see that one. Scott, you want to give us a fire report?
Sure. The Rhinebeck Fire Department monthly call volume breakdown for the month of April. There was 14 EMS calls in the town, 30 in the village. We provided mutual aid on 3 occasions for a total of 47 EMS calls for the month of April. There was 8 fire calls in the town and 5 in the village. Mutual aid was provided 5 times for a total of 18 fire calls in April. And motor vehicle accidents, there was just 1 in the town. So there's a total of 66 calls for the month of April that the fire department responded to.
Good? Nothing else? Want to mention a truck or anything?
Yeah, we took delivery of we got a new utility truck. We spoke about it and we voted on it at our last meeting. The truck committee did some research, found the truck, and we took delivery, 2 weeks ago? Or was it a week ago that we saw? So now we have a pickup truck to pull the trailer that will pull our utility or our ATV fire equipment to fire scenes. That's it.
Street?
Most of the street report was already reported by John Fenton, but there's a few things here. I can talk about. As he said, the mulch sales are on. We're selling mulch at $20 per yard. It's very good mulch. You can call Pat Kuhn here and come and pay her, then you go down and get the mulch. They're cleaning up the parks. He talked about the Welcome to Rhinebeck signs need a new backing or replacement. And then the rest of the month, they'll be getting ready for the Memorial Day Parade.
Those are the Chamber of Commerce signs, right? The Welcome to Rhinebeck signs?
Yeah, I'm not sure if those are wooden signs, right?
Yeah, they're the ones that are circles. They're owned by the Chamber.
Right.
Okay.
So that's not the responsibility of the village, or?
No.
Okay.
Right, Pat? Yeah.
Right.
I think that's it for the highway department.
How about the crosswalk?
Oh, yeah, he didn't talk about that. Okay, I guess this is Mike saying this. He feels we need a crosswalk at South Parsonage Street and Route 308, which is where the deli used to be. And also a crosswalk where the flashing yellow light is on South Parsonage and South Street. This is the gateway for students to the north side of the village. So we would have to get state approval for that, for the one over here by the deli.
Yeah.
Right? And we could do our own at the, where the blinking light is.
Yep.
That shouldn't be a problem, no?
No.
It shouldn't be a
No,
problem.
we're waiting to consolidate we have a list of striping that needs to be done. We need to refresh the crosswalk on Knollwood by Will Tremper there.
But if you do that, you also have to lower the curbs, right? And make it compatible for blind people. You know, what these.
Where the sidewalk curbing is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking
We'd
over
have to
here.
do that on the state road. Yeah.
Right, right.
Detection pads.
Mhm.
Is that what it's called?
Okay.
And as I reported before, we have $78,000 in our CHIPS fund. That's a highway fund that the state gives us money every year. It builds up. They gave us $24,055 this year.
22,000?
24,000. There was a balance of $54,941, so the total is $78,997.
So now we have to go and get it, right?
Well, we have to come up with a project.
No, we have it. It gets put in a fund for us. It's a lot of.
I know, that's what I mean, now we have to get it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, yeah.
the way we get it is do a project. And
But we don't lose it. It'll roll over next year.
For a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And last year we had a one-time extreme winter weather. I haven't heard anything about that for this year, but I don't remember when it was released last year. It might have been around this time that we had $6,000 last year or so that we definitely spent.
It says this budget also includes a $50 million extreme winter recovery capital appropriation.
Oh.
But it doesn't break it down on extreme weather.
Maybe they just rolled it in this year instead of.
Maybe. Okay.
So, next is planning and zoning. I will,
You got something?
well, I was gonna start with, it's a good spot for the vacation buyout request from Karen McFarland for 34 hours, which will, we'll leave her with accruals, so I'd like to make the motion to approve as requested.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Pass that down, Pat.
Thank you.
For the police department, or do you have anything else for planning and zoning? Yes? Nothing major?
Nothing major.
Okay, police, in the town, there are 24 incidents. In April, the village, there were 78 incidents, 20 tickets in the town, 79 tickets in the village, a total of 2 arrests and 8 accidents. Some notes from the police department that there will be a marathon the Feet Marathon, scheduled for May 16th, this coming Saturday, and then the Memorial Day Parade, Monday, May 25th. Howie, got any tree report for us?
No, we did not get an official report, but I'm ad-libbing it here.
Okay.
We had our official tree planting April 28th. Saturday, we planted 6 new trees, and we also moved and replanted 6 trees in the mini park. What happened there was maybe 10 years ago, there was a grant that the village got, and a lot of trees were planted along the stream in the mini park, and we felt that they were growing into each other, so we moved them, spread them out a little bit more. And I'd like to thank everybody who helped us, especially Daytop. They give us 5 or 6 volunteers, and they're the strongest people there. They make light work of what we have to do. And I know John Fenton mentioned about there's a structural soil that the Tree Commission's looking into, where you plant, when you put a new sidewalk in, you put it under the sidewalk at certain points where trees are, or potential new trees, so that helps the tree roots grow into the structural soil and doesn't buckle the sidewalk. So there's nothing in the code right now that says you have to do that, but some Tree Commission members are recommending that be put into the code. So we're looking into that. It's to protect the sidewalk in the future and the tree. That's it for the Tree Commission.
All right, the Parks and Recreation Committee, we have met now a couple of times. We're working, on some concepts for revitalization of Crystal Lake, and also working on planning a community picnic, which would be there at Crystal Lake. The tentative proposed date at this point is July 10th. Throwing around some ideas, so if you have any, please throw them out there, but it would be, community picnic in the evening, working on, entertainment, food, stuff like that.
Is that when the trustees and the mayor would be cooking for everybody?
It very much could be.
Yeah, because the Board of Education used to do that in Mini Park, like the first week of school.
They still do.
Oh, they still do?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Is it the first week of school or in June?
I think it's the first week of school, September, yeah.
We will usually get invited to that, I believe.
Yeah.
So keep July 10th available, July 17th for a rain date. If you have any ideas for it, please forward them along.
We're going to break out Pokey.
Maybe, yeah. If they bring the grill, we'll bring Pokey. Only request this month is a request from the Chamber of Commerce to hold their spring sidewalk sale for May 15th through the 17th. And they want to put up yard signs. Are they up already?
I haven't seen them.
No? So they're going to go up Monday, May 10th. Okay. So I'd like to make a motion to approve that as submitted.
Second.
Discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Correspondence. We had got an email from Bill Baird. He works in the village of Montgomery Row, and he was writing to compliment the addition of the orange flags at the crosswalk location on Route 9 by Terrapin. He said that the cars are stopping more, even if people are not holding the flags, just seeing them on the side of the road. I think that's the second positive response we've gotten on that, right? I don't have the other one in here. The water and sewer adjustments are next.
Well, I had a letter from a water user about the problem up and down the Hudson River. They complained about the fracking, the traffic on the river, the traffic on the rails, and what is our backup plan essentially if something happens there. And I guess I will tell him, that person, that we have an emergency response plan. And that's it. We certainly cannot affect any kind of legislation to fix the problem
Right.
on the river and so on. There's a one-page letter enumerating all from fracking to...
I think we all saw it, right?
You saw it?
About the
Okay.
oil train cars
Yeah,
coming from
right.
North Dakota.
I move that we accept the water and sewer adjustments as laid out by Pat here. Essentially, we had 9 new owners, 9 finals. There were a couple of issues with where we sent out posted the collection notices after the notices went out. So it's just a clerical issue. So I'm asking to accept the adjustments as posted.
Second.
Heinz, there's one here for like $5,000-$6,000.
Yeah, that was a misread meter, which
Okay.
wasn't caught. There were like 3 too many zeros there. And so,
Okay.
right, Pat?
Yeah.
The $6,000 bill.
Yeah, that was the school.
Some of them were caught, but this one wasn't.
Okay.
It's hard because I'm not seeing them all.
So it's just somebody got a bill that was way out of whack?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we notified the people.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have some minutes from March 17th, March 19th, and March 26th. Before I make a motion on those, anyone got any comments on them?
Stuff got fixed.
It's all fixed?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the 3 sets of minutes as submitted.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
You had our executive session?
We had it already. You can put next on there, Hans. I do have one note. We did an update on Asher Dam. The original scope of work was approved. That's the $150,000. So finally approved. We actually got the paperwork. And then we have a representative from New York State Department of Homeland Security Emergency Services coming tomorrow morning
10:15.
to review the remainder of our paperwork for the final packet, which would adjust it up to $192,000. So for the whole amount of everything that we spent to make the repairs. So it's all included in the worksheet that we got from FEMA. They listed out as we submitted all the work. So they're coming to do a final review of the last pieces of documentation tomorrow morning. So.
Cool.
So if no one else has anything, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.